we will be a sort of a tragic beneficiary of the disruption happening in other markets that the internet or the technology industry is poised to colonize. And so to the extent that, for example, media companies or financial service institutions or whatever, real estate companies, whatever, are being damaged because of the crisis, to the extent that the Valley is creating the kinds of companies that are going to be in those markets in a big way, we will tend to benefit because we will tend to be playing offense rather than playing defense and worrying about whether we can pay off our debt or whether we can roll our loans over. And so generally speaking, from the Valley, and I say it's a tragic opportunity. It's you don't wish this kind of suffering on anybody. But if TV is in trouble or radio is in trouble, and it runs into a debt crisis, or a newspaper is in trouble and can't keep it going, there are new companies springing up all over the place that are going to be able to take a lot of those roles. The typical. There are exceptions to this. There's friends of mine who are trying very hard to grapple with this. But the typical sort of newspaper industry response is, we just got to figure out a way to kind of gut through it. Like if we can get through the advertising recession, if we can downsize the paper, if we can downsize the newsroom,
I don't think that's what their idea is, but go ahead.
Start running ads on the front page. If we can just figure out some combination of things, then we can keep printing the paper and delivering it as a physical medium. And this internet thing will kind of stay off to the side.
No, I think that's not true. I think they're trying to survive until the internet thing pays off.
Well, but so this is
how they do it.
Okay, but this is playing offense versus playing defense.
Right.
Their revenue today is still in most cases 90% print, 10% online.
Right.
That means they spend 90%. I can tell you, been involved in a lot of companies. Right. 90%. If your 90% of your revenue is coming from something, 90% of your time is being spent on that. And so they're spending 90% of their time.
And the future's the 10%. You're not spending.
The future's 10%, and they have spending very little time playing offense. But for the most part, their internet divisions have been off to the side, often with different newsrooms. Yeah. I mean, just like bizarre separation.
So to play offense for a newspaper, for you, means what?
Oh, you got to kill the print edition.
You would stop the presses tomorrow.
You have to kill it.
Stop the presses tomorrow.
You have to kill it.
Stop the presses tomorrow.
Stop presses tomorrow. And I'll tell you what, the stocks would go up. Look at what's happened to the stocks. The investors are through this. The investors are through the transition. Right. You talk to any smart investor who controls any amount of money, he will tell you that the game is up. Like, it's completely over. And so the investors have completely written off the print operations. There is no value in these stock prices attributable to print anymore at all. It's gone.
So you would recommend to the owners of the New York Times stop printing paper?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You have to. You have to
and take your losses.
Yeah. You have to.
Like a courageous person.
Well, so chronic pain, acute pain.
Right.
How many years of, it's the music industry, same thing. How many years of chronic pain do you want to take to avoid taking a year of acute pain?
Right.
And by the way, the acute pain would be acute. Like, this is a big deal. I'm not saying that this wouldn't, you'd have to do massive layoffs.
If 90% of revenues have gone away, then you've got a problem.
You've got a problem. But you have to build for the future. I mean, if you're the guy delivering ice to people's ice boxes, at a certain point, you better go into the refrigerator repair business, or you're going to have an issue, right? If you're the village blacksmith and the Model T comes along, you better become a mechanic. People's lives are better when they get news online versus having to wait for the morning paper. It's a lot more efficient, a lot more real time, a lot less waste. It's actually like everything about the online experience is better. And at some point, you have to, I believe, as a responsible manager, reorient and go after the new thing.
You read anything on paper?
Well,
anything?
I'm weird. I read everything. So I subscribe on. I'm a huge consumer of media. So I subscribe to papers.
Like me. I go online. I get I want to touch it. I want this. I want this.
This is what I tell my friends. Like, I own 6,000 CDs, like music CDs. Yeah. Like, I buy CDs all the time. I love CDs.
Yes.
All they need are another million people like me.
So